Hello, all, and welcome to the lecture series on effective technical communication. So, today we are going to be looking at the second topic of the second unit of the this course, and this topic happens to be business letters. Okay, so we studied email for the first topic, and we are going to look at business letters for the second topic. Okay, so let us just take a look at what business letters are, and then we will first begin with the definition, then we will go into the structure of business letters. Okay, so a business letter is basically a formal written message written in a conventional form for a specific audience to meet a specific need. Okay, so a business letter, of course, as you can understand, it cannot be an informal letter, it has to be a formal written message, and it has a particular audience as its target. So it is meant for a specific audience, and it is meant to serve the purpose of meeting a specific need. All right, so you are writing this letter with the motive to meet a specific need, and that need can only be met by the specific audience to whom you are actually addressing the letter. Okay, now we can also consider it as a dialogue where the sender sends the message with the expectation of a response. So of course, whenever it is that you are sending a message or a letter to somebody, we mostly, in most cases, we actually expect a reply. Okay, either in the either to be confirmed that the message was actually delivered, or we need the response in the manner of an answer, okay, to a question, or for some kind of for some other kind of confirmation, or you know invitation, and all of these things. So business letters can be considered can be considered as a dialogue, because when you are sending out the letter to your specific audience, you are actually expecting a reply from that audience. And until and unless we have a dialogue, okay, no operations can take place successfully. Okay, so there has to be, you know, there has to be an effort from both the ends, from your end, the one who is sending out the letter, and from the one who is actually replying to it. Okay, because this will actually result in the effective functioning of the organization again. So whatever it is that we do, whatever whatever it is that we take up, say email or business letters or whatever it is, the primary aim or the ultimate aim is to ensure the effective functioning of the organization, okay, who is actually resorting to these methods. All right, now we come to the process of writing a business letter. Okay, now there is something called pre-writing, okay, writing and post-writing. So these are the three stages that you go through, you know, when you are drafting a business letter. Okay, so what does pre-writing constitute? So this stage basically constitutes audience analysis. Like, you analyze the audience to whom you are sending out the message. Purpose identification, you identify the purpose, you identify the audience, you analyze the audience who is going to be your target, and you identify the purpose, what purpose this letter is going to serve, what is your motivation, and what it is that you are actually aiming to achieve by sending this letter. Scope determination, so you're determining the scope, okay, the further scope that this letter actually extends or expands on. And the analysis of the desired action, so the action which this letter is going to actually propel as an outcome, you analyze that as well. So you analyze the audience, you identify the purpose, the reason why you are sending out the letter. You see the scope, determination of the scope, what avenues this letter is going to open for you, and you also analyze the desired action that this letter is going to bring about from the other end to whom you are actually sending out the letter. Okay, then comes writing. Okay, now what does writing include? Now this stage basically involves, okay, the organization and the ordering of the content, process of inclusion and exclusion. Okay, so what it is that you are going to include, what it is that you are going to exclude, the way you are organizing your letter, and the way you are ordering the content of it. Okay, so what are the three strategies that we follow when we are writing, when we are in the writing stage of a business letter? First is brainstorming, okay, which is like a planning technique, okay, in which you list down ideas as they arise in your mind. So basically, whatever ideas come to your mind on the spot, you basically list them all out. Okay, then we come to free writing. Okay, now free writing is basically you express your ideas freely without being concerned about the grammar or the punctuation or other organizational problems, because those can be taken care of later. You first have to do free writing in order to, you know, kind of express the free flow of your ideas. Okay, then comes mind mapping. Now, mind mapping is a clustering technique, okay, that takes advantage of your mind's natural ability to organize information. Okay, so basically, you kind of mind mapping means you kind of order whatever it is that you have actually, the points that you have listed down in free writing and through brainstorming, you map that in your mind. Okay, you connect each point with the other so that you have a proper structure in your head, and that is called mind mapping. Okay, now we come to the third stage, which is called the post writing. Now this stage involves revision, editing, and evaluation. Okay, now revision means the improvement of the layout, content, and the syntax or the sentence structure of the body of the letter. So whatever mistakes that you might have made during the free writing stage of your, writing process, post writing is the stage where you actually make the mend of them, where you actually repair them, all right, and rectify them. So you basically improve the layout, content, and syntax. Editing refers to the correction of grammar, punctuation, format, and structure. So all of these things basically aim to rectify whatever mistakes that you might have made in the free writing, free writing stage of the writing process. Evaluation is the, you know, is again one such, method in post writing that you employ, you know, to critically examine the letter to ensure that it achieves its purpose. So evaluation means you critically go through the letter once again and find out whether the letter is actually, putting your point across, driving your point home, and whether it is achieving the purpose that you had in your mind when you started to draft the letter. Okay, now we come to the structure of a business letter. All right. Now, what does a business letter, constitute basically? So, the structure basically contains five elements: sender's address, deadline, dateline, I'm sorry, reference, inside address, subject. Okay. So the sender's address is the very first line of your business letter, which should be put at the top right hand corner of your page. Okay, that is where you put your sender's address. Okay, and this section should not include the sender's name. You are not going to include the sender's name in this particular section of your letter. So it should be placed on the top right hand side, right hand corner of your page. Now, it is immediately followed by the date line. Now, this is the second line of your letter, which should indicate the date on which the letter was written. Alright? So, you indicate the date here on which you are writing the letter. Then comes the third line, which is the reference. Now, this might be an optional element. This is optional. This need not be mandatorily included. Okay, you can leave it out if you want to, or you can even put it in if you want. Okay. Now this basically, includes the writer's reference number as well as the reference number of the recipient. Okay, should be mentioned here in the reference line if at all you are thinking or considering to include it in your business letter. Then the fourth line of your letter includes the inside address. All right. So in your inside address, you include, okay, the receiver's address, okay, and his or her name. So in the inside address you can actually put the name of the receiver, unlike the sender's address where you are not supposed to put in your name. Then follows the subject. Okay, now this is also an optional element which you can include or which you may include or may not include. Now this basically is the topic in brief, okay, and in the form of a phrase. If you're writing the subject, it should be in the form of a phrase. It should not be like a complete sentence, okay. Like, it should basically indicate the, you know, it should basically give you a glimpse about the content of the letter, okay. So, and it should basically give the recipient a glimpse about the content of the letter. So this should be written in a phrase, okay, in the form of a phrase. Now, sorry, basically business letters, the structure includes 4 elements. We have discussed 5 elements. Now we will discuss the next 5 elements. Now, immediately after your subject, you have the salutation. Now, the salutation is, it is a kind of a greeting. All right. Now, the salutation is a kind of a greeting that you use to address the recipient of the letter. All right. It can be dear sir, dear madam, or things like that. Then comes a body of the letter which contains an opening line which states the main idea. The middle paragraph should contain the details and the closing action, which is the conclusion. Then after the body follows a complimentary clause where you include things like yours sincerely, yours truly. Then the complimentary clause is followed by the signature where you are writing your name, alright? And you can also mention your title, your designation of the company if you want. Then comes the optional element enclosure. If you have any attachments to enclose with your business letter, then you can do it here, alright? Now there are 4 simple formats of a business letter, okay. The first is the block format, okay. In this style, all parts of a letter like the date line, inside address, salutation, body, and so on, they begin at the left, okay, and the paragraphs are not indented. This is a block format. Now we come to the second one, which is the modified block format. Now all the parts of a letter here begin at the center of this page, okay, and the paragraphs are not indented and the line endings are not justified. Now we come to the semi-block format, which is similar to the block format except that each paragraph is indented and the line endings are again unjustified. Then the last format happens to be simplified format, which is again similar to block format except that the salutation and complimentary clause are omitted, okay. So it may also include a subject line in capital letters. So this style is kind of gaining popularity now. That's the last particular format that we talked about, simplified format, okay. This style is gaining popularity in the present day, alright. So this is basically all that you have to know about your business letters, okay. So we read the definition, we saw the stages of writing a business letter, we saw the structure which contains 10 elements which I discussed, and then we discussed about the types of business letters, alright. So yeah, this is all about business letters. We will come back again in the next session with business proposals. Okay, thank you for listening.